गुड इवनिंग दोस्तों। मैं अपनी डायरी कंटिन्यू कर रही हूँ, द डायरी ऑफ अ यंग गर्ल रिटन बाय एनी फ्रैंक। तो आप लोग सुनिए, सब लोग स्टार्ट करते हैं मेरी डायरी। आज का दिन है थर्सडे 10th December 1942। डियर किटी, मिस्टर वैन डैन यूज्ड टू बी इन द मीट sausage and spice business. It was because of his knowledge of this trade that he was taken on in daddy's business. Now he is showing the bright side of himself, which for us is by no means disagreeable. We had ordered a lot of meat under the counter, of course, for preserving in case we should come upon hard times. It was fun to watch first the way the pieces of meat went through the mincer 2 or 3 times, then how all the accompanying ingredients were mixed with the minced meat, and then how the intestine was filled by means of a spout to make the sausages. We fried the sausage meat and ate it with for supper that evening, but the Gelderland sausage had to be thoroughly dried first, so we hung them over a stick tied to the ceiling with string. Everyone who came into the room began to laugh when they caught a glimpse of the row of sausage on shows. They looked terribly funny. The room was in a glorious mess. Mr. Van Daan was wearing one of his wife's aprons round his substantial person. He looked fatter than he is and was busy with the meat. Hands mothered in blood red face and the soiled apron made him look like a butcher. Mrs. Van Daan was trying to do everything at once. Learning Dutch from a book, stirring the soup, watching the meat being done, sighing and complaining about her injured rib. That's what happens to elderly ladies who do such idiotic exercises to reduce their large behind. Dussel had inflammation in one eye and was bathing it with tea by the fire. Pern, who was sitting on a chair in a beam of sunlight that shone through the window, kept being pushed from one side to the other. In addition, I think his was bothering him because he sat rather bunched up with a miserable look on his face. Watching Mr. Van Daan at work, he looked exactly like some old man from an old people's home. Peter was doing acrobatics round the rooms with his cat, Mummy Margot, and were peeling potatoes, and of course all of us were doing everything wrong because we were so busy watching Mr. Van Daan. Dussel has opened his dental practice for the fun of it. I must just tell you about his first patient. Mummy was ironing and Mrs. Van Daan was the first to face the ordeal. She went and sat on a chair in the middle of the room. Dussel began to unpack his case in an awfully important way. Asked for some EUD collagen as a disinfectant and Vaseline to take the place of wax. He looked in Mrs. Van Daan's mouth and found two teeth with which when touched just made her crumple up as if she was examination in Mrs. Van Daan's case, lasting in actual fact not more than 2 minutes. Dussel began to scrape away at one of the holes, but no fear, it was out of the question. The patient flung her arms and legs about wildly in all directions until at one point Dussel let go of the scraper that remained stuck in Mrs. Van Daan's tooth. Then the fat was really in the fire. She cried as far as it was possible with such an instrument in one's mouth, tried to pull the thing out of her mouth and only succeeded in pushing it further in. Mr. Dussel stood with his hand against his sides, calmly watching the little comedy. The rest of the audience lost all control and roared with laughter. It was rotten of us because I, for one, am quite sure that I should have screamed even louder. After much turning, kicking, Screaming and calling out, she got the instrument free at least, and Mr. Dussel went on with his work as if nothing had happened. This he did so quickly that Mr. Van Daan did not have time to start any fresh trick, but he do never had so much help in all his life before. Two assistants are pretty useful. Van Daan and I performed our duties well. The whole scene looked like a picture from the Middle Ages entitled A Quack at Work. In the meantime, however, the patient had not much patience. She had to keep an eye on her soup and her meal. One thing is certain, Mr. Van Daan won't be in such a hurry to allow herself to be treated again. Yours Annie, Sunday 13th December 1942. Dear Kitty, I am sitting cozily in the main office looking outside through a slit in the curtain. It is dusk but still just light enough to write to you. It is a very queer sight as I watch the people walking by. It look just as if they are all in a terrible hurry and nearly trip over their own toes. With cyclists now, one simply can't keep pace with their speed. I can't even see what sort of person is riding on the machine. The people in this neighborhood don't look very attractive. The children, especially, are so dirty. You would not want to touch them with a barge pole. Real slum kids with running noses. I can hardly understand a word they say. Yesterday afternoon, Margot and I were having a bath here, and I said, supposing we were to take the children who are walking past one by one, hoist them up with a fishing rod, give them each a bath wash and mend their clothes, and then let them go again. Then Margot interrupted me. By tomorrow they would look just as filthy and ragged as before. As before. But I am just talking nonsense. Besides, there are other things to see: cars, boats, and rain. I like particularly the screech uh, of the trams as they go by. There is no more variety in our thoughts that there is for ourselves. They go round and round like a roundabout, from Jews to food and from food to politics. By the way, talking of Jews, I saw two Jews through the curtain yesterday. I could hardly believe my eyes. It was a horrible feeling, just as if I do betrayed them and was now watching them in their misery. There is a houseboat immediately opposite where a bargeman lives with his family. He has a small yapping dog. We only know the little dog by his bark and his tail, which we can see when he runs round the deck. Ooh, now it's started to rain and most of the people are hidden under umbrellas. I see nothing but raincoats and occasionally the back of someone's hat. Really, I don't need to see more. I am gradually getting to know all the women at a glance, blown out with potatoes, wearing a red or a green coat, heels, and with a bag under their arms. Their faces either look grim or kind depending on their husband's dispositions. Tuesday, 22 December 1942. Dear Kitty, the Secret Annex has heard the joyful news that each person will receive an extra quarter of a pound of butter for Christmas. It says half a pound in the newspapers, but that's only for the lucky mortals who get their nation books from the government, not for Jews who have gone into hiding, who can only afford to buy four illegal ration books instead of 8. We are all going to bake something with our butter. I made some biscuits and two cakes this morning. Everyone is very busy upstairs and Mummy has told me I must not go there to work or read until the household jobs are done. Mrs. Van Daan is in bed with her bruised rib, complains the whole day long, allows herself to be given fresh dressings all the time, and isn't satisfied with anything. I shall be glad when she is on her feet again and uh, tidies up her own things, because I must say this for her. She exceptionally uh, industrious and tidy. All the while she is healthy in mind and body, she is cheerful too, just as if I did not hear enough during the day for making too much noise. My gentleman bedroom companion now repeatedly calls out ish to me at night too. According to him, I am not even allowed to turn over. I refuse to take the slightest notice of him and shall go ish back to on him the next time. He makes me furious on Sundays, especially when he turns the light on early to do his exercises. It seems to take simply hours, while I poor tormented creature feel the prayers which are placed at the head of my bed. No lengthen it, slide backwards and forwards continually under my sleepy head when he has ended with a couple of violent arm weaving exercises to loosen his muscles. His lordship begin his toilet, his pants are hanging up so to and fro. He must go to collect them, but he forget his tie, which is lying on the nibble. Therefore, once more he pushes and bumps past the chairs to get it. But I won't bore you any longer on the subject of old men. It won't make things any better, and all my plans of revenge, such as disconnecting the lamp, shutting the door, hiding his clothes, must be abandoned in order to keep the peace. Oh, I am becoming so sensible. One must apply one's reason to everything here. Learning to obey, to hold your tongue, to help, to be good, to give in, and I don't know what else. I am afraid I shall use up all my brains too quickly, and I have not got so very many. Then I shall not have any left for when the war is over. Wednesday, 13th January 1943. Dear Kitty, everything has upset me again this morning, so I was not able to finish a single thing properly. It is terrible outside day and night. More of those poor miserable people are being dragged off with nothing but a rucksack and a little money on the way. They are deprived even if these possession families are torn apart. The men, women and children all being separated. Children coming home from school find that their parents have disappeared. Women return from shopping to find their homes shut up and their families gone. The Dutch people are anxious too. Their sons are being sent to Germany. Everyone is afraid, and every night hundreds of planes fly over Holland and go to German towns where the earth is plowed up for their by their bombs, and every hour hundreds and thousands of people are killed in Russia and Africa. No one is able to keep out of it. The whole globe is waging war, and although it is going better for the Allies, the end is not yet in sight. And as for us, we are fortunate. Yes, we are luckier than millions of people. It is quiet and safe here, and we are, so to speak, living on capital. We are even so selfish as to talk about after the war. Brighten up at the thought of having new clothes and new shoes, whereas we really ought to save every penny to help other people and save what is left from the wreckage after the war. The children here run about in just a thin blouse and clocks, no coat, no hat, no stockings, and no one helps them. Their tummies are empty, they chew an old carrot to stay the pangs, go from their cold homes out into the cold street, and when they get to school, find themselves to in an even colder classroom. Yes, it has even got so bad in Holland that country's children stop the passers by and beg for a piece of bread. I could go on for hours about all the suffering the war has brought, but then I could only make myself more dejected. There is nothing we can do but wait as calmly as we can till the misery comes to an end. Jews and Christians wait, the whole earth waits, and there are many who wait for death. Okay, अब आ गया सैटरडे 30 जनवरी 1943। इट मीन्स कि ये वर्ल्ड वॉर से पहले की डायरी है एनी फ्रैंक की। अब आगे पढ़ते हैं। डियर किटी, आई एम बॉइलिंग विद रेज एंड येट आई मस्ट नॉट शो इट। आई डू लाइक टू स्टैम्प माई फीट, स्क्रीम्स giving mummy a good shaking cry, and I don't know what else because of the horrible words, mocking looks, and accusations which are leveled at me repeatedly every day and find their mark like shafts from a tightly strung bow, and which are just as hard to draw from my body. I would like to shout to Margot, Van Dan, Lucille, and Daddy too. Leave me in peace. Let me sleep one night, at least without my pillow being wet with tears, my eyes burning, and my head throbbing. Let me get away from it all. Perfect. Preferably away from the world. But I can't do that. They must not know my despair. I can't let them see the wounds which they have caused. I could not bear their sympathy and their kind-hearted jokes. It would only make me want to scream all the more. If I talk, everyone thinks I am showing off. When I am silent, they think I am ridiculous, rude. If I answer sly, if I get a good idea, lazy, of I am tired, selfish, if I eat a mouthful more than I should, stupid, cowardly, crafty, etc. The whole day long I hear nothing else but that I am an insufferable baby, and although I laugh about it and pretend to not to take any notice, I do mind. I would like to ask God to give me a different nature so that I did not put everyone's back up. But that cannot be done. I have got the nature that has been given to me, and I am sure it can't be bad. I do my very best to please everybody, far more than they do ever guess. I try to laugh it all off because I don't want to let them see my trouble. More than once, after a uh, whole string of undeserved rebukes, I have flared up at Mummy. I don't care what you say. Anyhow, leave me alone. I am a hopeless case anyway. Naturally, I was then told I was rude and was virtually ignored for 2 days, and then all at once it was quite forgotten and I was treated like everyone else again. It is impossible for me to be all sugar one day and split venom the next. I do rather choose the golden mean, which is not so golden. Keep my thoughts to myself and try for once to be just as to them as they are to me. Oh, if only I could. कन्नू गैस बंद कर दे। Friday, 5th February 1943. Dear Kitty, although I have not written anything about our rose for a long time, there Still is not any change. The discord long accepted by us struck Mr. Dussel as a calamity at first, but he is getting used to it now and tries not to think about it. Margot and Peter are not a bit what you would call young. They are both so scared and quiet. I show up terribly against them and am always hearing, you don't find Margot and Peter doing that. Why don't you follow their example? I simply loathe it. I might tell you I did not want to be in the least like Margot. She is much too soft and passive for my liking and allows everyone to talk her around and gives in about everything. I want to be a stronger character, but I keep such ideas to myself. They would only laugh at me if I came along with this as any explanation of my attitude. The atmosphere at table is usually strained, though. Luckily, the outbursts are sometimes checked by the soup eaters. The soup eater are the people from the office who come in and are served with a cup of soup. This afternoon, Mr. Vanden was talking about Margot eating so little again. I suppose you do it, keep slim. He added, teasing her. Mummy, who always defends Margot, said loudly, I can't bear your stupid chatter any longer. Mr. Van Daan turned scarlet, looked straight in front of him, and said nothing. We often laugh about things. Just recently, Mrs. Van Daan came out with some perfect nonsense. She was recalling the past, how well she and her father got on together, and what a flirt she was. And do you know, she went on, if a man gets a bit aggressive, my father used to say, then you must say to him, Mr. So and so, remember I am a lady, and he will know what you mean. We thought that was a good joke and burst our laughing. Peter, too, although usually so quiet, sometimes gives cause for. He is blessed with a passion for foreign words, although he does not always know their meaning. One afternoon, we could not go to the lavatory because there were visitors in the office. However, Peter had to pay an urgent call, so he did not pull the plug. He put a notice up on the lavatory door to warn us with SVP gas on it. Of course, he meant to put beware of gas, but he thought the other looked more gathered. He had not got the uh, faintest notion. It means, if you please. Saturday, 27 February 1943. Dear Kitty, Pern is expecting the invasion any day. Churchill has had pneumonia but is improving slowly. The freedom-loving Gandhi of India is holding his unpretended fast. Mr. Van Daan claims to be, but who is the most scared when the guns go off? No one else but Hank brought a copy of the bishop's letter to church goers for us to read. It was very fine and inspiring. Do not rest, people of the Netherlands. Everyone is fighting with his own weapons to free the country. The people and their religion give help to generous and do not dismay, is what they cry from the pulpit. Just like that, will it help? It won't help the people of our religion. You do never guess what has happened to us. Now, the owner of these premises has scold the house without informing Krayler and Coophius. One morning, the new owner arrived with an architect to have a look at the house. Luckily, Mr. Coophius was present and showed the gentleman everything except the secret annex. He professed to have forgotten the key of the communicating door. The new owner did not question any further. It will be all right as long as he does not come back and want to see the secret annex, because then it won't look too good for us. Daddy has emptied a card index box for Margot and me and put cards in it. It is to be a book card system. Then we both write down which books we have read, who they are, etc. I have procured another little notebook for foreign words. Lately, Mummy and I have given getting on better together, but we still never in each other. Margot is more catty than ever, and Daddy has got something. He is keeping to himself, but he remains the same darling. New butter and margarine rationing and table. Each person has their little bit of fat, but on their plate. In my opinion, the Van Dans don't divide it at all fairly. However, my parents are much too afraid of a row to say anything about it. Pity, I think you would always give people like them tit for tat. अभी आज हम इतना ही पढ़ेंगे, आज के लिए बस इतना ही। और बाकी वेडनेसडे 10 मार्च 1943 हम कल शुरू करेंगे। और बाद में मैं आपसे आखिरी में यही कहना चाहूँगी कि अगर आपको मेरी डायरी रीडिंग अच्छी लगती है तो मेरे चैनल को लाइक करें, सब्सक्राइब करें। और मिलते हैं कल। आगे एनी फ्रैंक ने अपनी डायरी में क्या लिखा है वो हम आगे कंटिन्यू करेंगे, और एनी फ्रैंक और क्या लिखती है अपनी डायरी में वो हम कल कंटिन्यू करेंगे। तब तक के लिए चलते हैं, बाय बाय, कल मिलते हैं, ठीक है। बाकी मेरे शॉर्ट्स भी आप लोग देखा करो, अगर आप लोग को अच्छे लगते हैं तो प्लीज़ लाइक कमेंट कर दिया करो। और थैंक यू सो मच। अभी चैनल बनाया है मेरा, बाकी मैं मेहनत कर रही हूँ। आगे क्या होता है आप लोगों के ऊपर है। आपको अच्छे लगते हैं शॉर्ट्स तो लाइक कमेंट कर दिया करें। तब तक के लिए बाय बाय, कल मिलते हैं।